told yesterday in the PowerPoint, the same thing I'm repeating here, but in a chart form. Okay. So what I have done here, the kidney, the position. It is between the 12th thoracic vertebra and the third lumbar vertebra at the dorsal side beside the vertebral column. So position, this you have to remember, between the 12th thoracic vertebra and third lumbar vertebra at the dorsal side beside the vertebral column. Its weight is 150 gram each. Weight is 150 gram each. And the number of nephrons in the two kidneys is about 24 lakhs. The number of nephrons in the two kidneys is around 24 lakhs. Now remember, the filtering unit of the kidney is nephron. Now, if we divide the kidney into two parts, then the outer part is known as renal cortex, which is around 1/3 of the whole kidney, and the inner part is renal medulla. Renal medulla, which is around 2/3 of the kidney. Now, if we talk about, you have already studied in class 10th about the nephron, then you will find that in the renal part, the proximal convoluted tubule, the distal convoluted tubule, and the Malpigian corpuscles, these are present. And in the in the renal medulla, mainly the Hellis loop is present. So what I have told, that kidney, the position is between 12th thoracic vertebra and the third lumbar vertebra at the dorsal side beside the vertebral column. You have to remember it. And then weight of the kidney is around 150 grams. The number of nephrons is 24 lakhs in two kidneys. We can divide the kidney into two parts. The outer part is called the renal cortex, and the inner part is known as renal medulla. Renal cortex is around 1/3 of the total kidney, and renal medulla is 2/3 of the total kidney. Now, if we divide the renal cortex into two parts, that is a superficial cortex and juxtamedullary cortex. We divide the renal cortex into two parts. One is superficial cortex, another is juxtamedullary cortex. Okay, now this superficial cortex is how much portion? Is 2/3 portion. And juxtamedullary cortex is the 1/3 part of the kidney. Cortex. Juxtamedullary, superficial cortex. From the name, we should be able to understand that the outermost part of the renal cortex is the superficial cortex, which is around 2/3 of the cortex. And the juxtamedullary cortex is 1/3 of the cortex. Now, this superficial cortex contains 85% of the nephrons. Okay, this contains 85% of the nephrons. And juxtamedullary cortex, this contains 15% of the nephrons. Now, there is another point which we have to remember. In this superficial cortex, the nephrons which are present, they are small in size and function in normal condition. And the juxtamedullary cortex, okay, here you will find some larger nephrons which only work in the case of emergency. For example, you are in the train without ticket and at the time the TT has come. Just you wet your pants. So at this moment, which nephrons have worked? The nephrons of the juxtamedullary cortex, which are quite longer and can produce more urine immediately. Okay, now here I am showing the diagram. This is the outermost covering of the connective tissue is called the capsule. Then you will find the 2/3 portion, that is superficial cortex. Then 1/3 portion, this is the juxtamedullary cortex. This is the 1/3 portion. Okay, and after this, here you will find this part is known as medulla. Now, in this medulla, you will find that here the pyramids are present. Okay, and there is a channel. Channel means these channels are all connected with the pelvis, which is a wider tube. Okay, and these are, again, let me tell you, suppose these are the sinuses, and here this wider tube is known as major calyx, and the branches which is going from here means branching of the major calyx is known as the minor calyx. Okay, now this is the urinary bladder, and in the urinary bladder 1 cubic centimeter urine is formed per minute, and it can maximum store 750 cc of urine in the urinary bladder. Now, how the urine is going from the kidney? Because urine is formed in the kidney. In the kidney, where it is formed? In the nephron. Now, when the urine is formed in the nephron, then it will go to the collecting tubule. From collecting tubule, it will go to the duct of Bellani. From duct of Bellani, it will go to the minor calyx. From minor calyx, it will go to the major calyx. And from major calyx, it will go to that space that is called sinus, renal sinus. Then it will go to the renal pelvis. Then from the renal pelvis, it will go to the ureter. From ureter, it will go to the urinary bladder. From urinary bladder, it will go to the urethra, and then it will go to outside the body. So again, I am repeating, the nephron, here the urine is produced, then it is going to the collecting tubule. From collecting tubule, it is going to the duct of Bellini, B-E-L-I-N-I. Then it is going to the minor calyx. From minor calyx, it is going to the major calyx. From major calyx, it is going to the renal sinus. From renal sinus, it is going to the pelvis. From pelvis, it is going to the ureter. From ureter, it is going to the urinary bladder. From urinary bladder, it is going to the urethra. From urethra, it is going to the outside the body. Now, what do you generally children ask? I have prepared my notes accordingly. So, what do you mean by duct of Bellini? Several collecting tubules unite to form a wider duct of Bellini, which opens through a papillae ched to the minor calyx. In 24 hours, 170 liters of water will be filtered through the glomerulus to the capsule, out of which 168.5 liter will be reabsorbed and only 1.5 liter will be given out of the body in the form of urine. So again, I am repeating, don't forget this, that how much is filtered. 170 liter will be filtered and 168.5 liter will be reabsorbed. Only 1.5 liter of water will be given out from the body in the form of urine. Now, if we talk about the nephron, then we can find that we divide it into two parts. One is called Malpigian Corpuscle, Another is called renal tubule. Okay, nephron, first I am dividing it and then we will go for the diagram. We can divide the nephron into two parts. First part is Malpigian corpuscle and the second part is renal tubule. This Malpigian corpuscle can be divided into again two parts. One part is known as glomerulus and another part is known as Bowman's capsule. Okay, Malpigian corpuscle is divided into two parts. One is glomerulus, another is Bowman's capsule. Now, this glomerulus is composed of 50 arterial capillaries, which is a tuft of capillaries, gucha capillaries, tuft of 50 capillaries. And the Bowman's capsule is composed of a parietal and visceral layer, and it is having the pores of dia 10 nanometer present in the visceral layer. Why it is required? Because the filtration will take place over here only. Now, the other part of the nephron is what? Renal tubule, the pipeline. So, this tubule can be divided into three parts. First part is called proximal convoluted tubule. Second part is the Henle's loop. And the third part is the distal convoluted tubule. Okay. So, now what happens? In the Malpigian corpuscle, that is with the help of glomerulus and Bowman's capsule, the blood is filtered and glomerular filtrate reaches to the renal tubule. There, the useful substances will be reabsorbed and harmful substances will be given out of the body. So, this is the whole picture, brief picture. First part is filtration. Okay, now glomerular filtrate will pass through the renal tubule. Their useful part will be absorbed and harmful part will be given out. Now, first, what we have to learn is how this filtration takes place. Now, you can see that in this is I am talking about the Malpigian corpuscle. Malpigian corpuscle is composed of two parts. This cup-shaped structure is known as the Bowman's capsule, and this part is known as glomerulus, which is a tuft of 50 capillaries. Now you can see these capillaries. These are the blood is entering through one arteriole, then it is divided into capillaries, and then it is again going out of another arteriole, which is again known as efferent arteriole, which brings the blood here is known as afferent arteriole, and which takes out the blood is known as efferent arteriole. Efferent arteriole means which brings the blood to this capillaries of the glomerulus, and efferent arteriole means which takes out the blood from this tuft of 50 capillaries. Here you can find one interesting thing, that the diameter of this afferent arteriole is more and the diameter of the efferent arteriole is less. Okay, now I will tell you to imagine one thing. Suppose you have got a football and you have made two holes in that football. One hole is a larger hole, another hole is a smaller hole. And you have made punctured the whole football with alpines. Many holes are there. Now, for example, if you are allowing water through the larger pipe, okay, to enter into the football and allowing it to going out from a very thin pipe, then what will happen? You will see that the water is coming out of it with full force. I think you can imagine this. The same thing will happen. Here more blood is coming in, and less blood is going out. So a pressure will be created here. And because of that pressure, many other pressures are also working, because for general understanding that because of that pressure, this glomerular filtration takes place. Now, what happens? What are the different pressure? So before that, let us learn certain terminology. Glomerular capillary pressure means how much pressure is there in the capillary. Now, glomerular osmotic pressure, the substances which are present in the blood, how much osmotic pressure it is creating. The next is capsular hydrostatic pressure. The water which is present here, it is also exerting one pressure. So that is known as the capsular hydrostatic pressure. Now let us learn about the effective filtration pressure. Effective filtration pressure means with what pressure the whole filtration process takes place. So here is a formula from which we can understand the whole thing. That is, effective filtration pressure is equal to glomerular capillary pressure minus glomerular osmotic pressure. Means the substances which are present inside the blood, they will resist the going out of the blood, plus capillary hydrostatic pressure. Means here the Bowman's capsule is there, and it is full of water or liquid, which is against giving a pressure against the glomerular capillary pressure. So you can find here that 60 mg, this is minus glomerular osmotic pressure is 30 mmHg, and capsular hydrostatic pressure is 20 mmHg. So effective filtration pressure means the pressure with which the whole filtration process is taking place is 10 mmHg. Okay.